would like to welcome everyone to Chatham Area Transit Special Call Meeting. This is a meeting to discuss our legislative agenda workshop and a couple of special meeting items, as well as our old business and our new business. So welcome to everyone. Beverly, would you please do our roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Director Snowden?
Present.
Thank you. Director Odell? Not present. Director Stone?
Present.
Director Lockett?
Present.
Director Adams?
Present.
Thank you. Director Robinson? Not present. Director Leggett? Not present. Director Taylor? Not present. And Chairman Cody? Not present. Madam Vice Chair, roll call.
We're going to, I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of today's agenda. I don't need a motion. Okay. All right, well then let's go ahead with our 2025 legislative agenda workshop. And the first person up, Stephanie, you're going to give some type of an overview for us.
Yes, and following our presenters, both lobbyists will be here to present Mr. Backer and representation from Squire Patton Boggs. I will close it out with what is being presented to the legislature for financial support for 2025. Mr. Beverly is Squire Patton Boggs.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Kingston
Yes.
online to move forward with his presentation.
Hi, I'm Tara Murray. I'm on the Squire Patton Boggs team. Jack is unfortunately traveling, so I am happy to give the presentation and can start whenever y'all are ready.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, great. I'll get going. I believe you all have the PowerPoint we sent over a few weeks ago, but first let me just start out. I'm Kara Marie. I'm a fifth-year associate here at Squire Patton Boggs, and I'm on the Transportation and Infrastructure Policy team. I have been fortunate to be working with Kat, supporting Jack Kingston and Carolina Medeiros, as well as Bill Schuster and Rodney Slater, the rest of the team, since I've been at Squire Patton Boggs. So I've been working on the team kind of behind the scenes for about 4 years now. So I'm really thrilled to see you all kind of person virtually. But we just wanted to kind of start with showing some of our success stories. So together, our partnership since 2016, we've secured a little more over 30.5 million in federal funding for CAT. In 2024 alone, we secured 8.5 million. This included a $691,000 grant through the FTA Ferry Grant Program, as well as a $7.8 million grant through the Low-No Bus Program. So we are very excited about those successes. Excuse me. And we're excited to continue pursuing opportunities for CAT in the year ahead of us. A lot going on this year. FTA is expected to open additional funding through its FY 2025 bus programs and ferry grant programs. In early 2025, we're also expecting additional opportunities to make congressionally directed spending requests, which are those earmark requests that we were very successful with. We got 2 of those back in FY 2023. Congressman Kingston is skilled at that as a former appropriator. So we're standing by to pursue anything there that Kat would like to. And again, we're just very happy to work with the board and the team. None of it would be possible without your wonderful staff and everybody in this room who has just been really great to work with and very helpful, responsive, and lets us do our job up here very smoothly. So we're very grateful for that. I know a lot going on in Washington. Everybody's probably been glued to the screens with election outcomes. Just assuring you that our firm, we have bipartisan resources. So and great relationships with both Senator Ossoff and Warnock's office, as well as Congressman Carter. So those will continue to carry through into next year. And we'll continue to stay close with them to make sure CAT's getting all the representation it can to the best of our abilities. So excited for everything to happen in 2025. But please let me know if there are any questions.
Questions? No. Kenny, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
All right,
Thank you, Carolina.
thank you very much. I guess Mr. Backward is up next.
I will, yes, sir.
Thank all of you. Good afternoon. I'm Mike Backward. I'm the state and local government affairs consultant for Chatham Area Transit, and actually have had the opportunity and the honor and privilege to represent CAT for over 10 years now, starting in 2014, when I was brought on board to help with an extension in the then exemption from state sales tax that was enjoyed by transit systems across the state, from sales tax on gasoline and diesel fuels. That died sometime subsequent to that as part of a reshuffling of priorities at the state level. But we continue to work for the benefit of moving CAT forward, not only in terms of statewide transit policy, but also specifically in terms of lately trying to seek hard dollars to assist with projects that we're working on. Next slide, please. This laughingly is the backward ticket. This is a rendition of me at the Capitol, and I will say that we have been successful. We've been successful because we do have a team. There is far more behind that than just this individual standing looking at his one-man band. I cannot stress strongly enough the role the CAT CEO has played, the CAT staff has played, the board has played, and our local delegation has had our back every step of the way, with a glitch every now and then, but they are behind us and with us. We work very closely with associated lobbyists who represent other interests in the city and county, City of Savannah lobbyists, Chatham County lobbyists, the Chamber of Commerce team, the Tourism Leadership Council, Savannah Convention Center, and others, notwithstanding the support that we have continuously received from the Speaker's office and from the Lieutenant Governor's office, most specifically in the past couple of years. So let me go through, if I can, on the next slide, Beverly, some of our accomplishments. In 2015, Governor Nathan Deal announced his Go Transit program, which started out as $100 million for transit due to needs from hurricane devastation to the farm community in Southwest Georgia. $25 million of that was set aside for that relief. But transit wound up with the largest single allocation from the general fund, I think, in the history of the state. So there was $75 million in transit funds that were available. We had the fantastic opportunity to be able to sit down at the table with Chris Tomlinson, who was then the head of the State Road Tollways Authority that was administering the program, to be able to be in on the ground floor of just how this program was going to be designed, what the standards were, what they would be looking for, And it was unique in that this was not a program that had to comply with any federal grants or any matching requirements. We were very pleased to be able to be awarded $10.8 million for transit rolling stock that was awarded in June of 2016 in a ceremony at the state capitol. Next slide, please. From 2017 to 2019, there was a focus that emerged from the Speaker's office on transit funding. And while there was legislation to create a joint transit funding task force, the Senate blinked. And so Speaker Ralston took it on his own to create and pass a House resolution that created a transit funding task force that did unusually include one senator to be part of that process. A number of individuals were appointed, and we were successful in having then CEO Curtis Colbert named as one of only 2 members on the task force that represented transit agencies. And so we were at the table every step of the way on the 2-year process. What emerged from this was legislation that created the transit T-SPLOST. And that is the legislation that has failed a couple of times in Gwinnett and Cobb County, most notably yesterday, but that is still on the books. There was a glitch in that the way the legislation was originally written, it required 2 counties to pass the referendum. And after a Herculean effort, we actually were able to convince the then chairman that that would not work. It needs to be able to stand on its own as a single county transit T-SPLOST referendum. And we managed to get that into a piece of legislation that died on the last night of the session because it became part of something that we termed the Franken Bill, which was an amalgamation of a number of disparate provisions that nobody could come to agreement on whatsoever. And so we worked on it until the bitter end, probably 11:30 on sine die. Transit SPLOST is still there. It's still available. And if anybody has an inclination to work on that vis-a-vis the policy side, we will look at that to correct that problem. Beverly, if we can change to the next slide. We've been working aggressively to maintain the existing structure of Chatham Area Transit Board. This issue came to a head with the abrupt departure of CEO Bakara Malden, and members of the legislative delegation's hair was on fire because this was a personnel issue and we could not explain to them what the issues were. That finally calmed down, and with the arrival of Faye DeMassimo as the replacement a year or so ago, the waters calmed down and we have really not heard anything else about going down that path. And we want to keep that temp down. We don't view, number one, that is a CAT board issue, because CAT board is a body, a creature, if you would, of the county commission and the city of Savannah. And we feel that if anything needs to move forward on that front, that would come from and should come from those particular governmental entities. We have been working, next slide, aggressively on helping to coordinate the Resactus Riverfront Western Dock project through coordinating with multiple public and private entities. That has been an ongoing project that required multiple levels of coordination and cooperation, and it kind of bogged down under its own weight in 2022. And so we had to work with the city, the county, the property owners, the feds, and everybody else to get the design ultimately finalized, get all of the permits finally in place. And now what we're working on is getting the final T's crossed and I's dotted on what the match will be for that grant from FTA that was received several years ago. That brings us a little bit closer. In 2023, we made a full court press. We moved from focusing almost exclusively on transportation and transit policy to looking at specific funding for needs for Chatham area transit. And by working with a collaboration of folks at the Capitol, we were successful. And I want to stress the role that the GDOT Commissioner Russell McMurray played in helping us obtain this funding. Excuse me. We were able to obtain $3 million in funding in the Georgia Transit Trust Fund, not in a line item specifically that said water ferries, but in a line item that basically earmarked the funding for other transit needs. Now, the Georgia Transit Trust Fund was formed maybe 2021, 2022. And it consists of 4 higher fees: Uber, Lyft, and taxi cab fees. These are placed in what is now a constitutionally protected trust fund. And it is also protected from anybody other than the Department of Revenue or the DOT commissioner from knowing how much money is in there. So the funds are distributed on a formula basis, with the Metro Atlanta transit agencies getting the bulk of the funding. But through this manner, we were able to get a very quiet earmark to receive that $3 million, which was transmitted very quickly to CAT. Moving forward to this year, we needed funding for EV charging infrastructure. And we worked aggressively to see about getting this money into the amended budget for this year or for last year, which was unsuccessful, and redoubled our efforts in getting the money in the House version or the Senate version, which we were unsuccessful in getting as well. But we worked with the Speaker's office, and more specifically, we worked with the Lieutenant Governor and directly with Senator Derek Mallow and Senator Ben Watson. And like a miracle coming out of the sky, in the final conference committee report, where there had been zeros for this request for CAT, I received a phone call at 9:30 on the final night of the legislative session from Senator Watson informing me that they had put $500,000 in the budget for that item. So those two alone accounted for $3.5 million coming directly into the coffers of CAT. We're hopeful to continue that level of success. We have the ears of the legislators. They understand the value of what we're doing. They understand what we're doing with EVs, and they love the water ferries. As one of the conversations that I had with the previous speaker surrounded, you don't want to see people having to swim across the river to Hutchinson Island to get to the convention center. And he chuckled, but that chuckle contained an acknowledgement that he understands the need that we had for funding to help replace those new water ferries, which will be arriving very quickly. To wrap up, since 2015, we have been able to secure $14.3 million in hard dollars, cash, for CAT, for capital expenditures, capital investments When you add that to what Squire Patton Boggs has been able to do over the same time period, we are looking at a success of $44.8 million being brought to Chatham Area Transit. We're proud of that. We look forward to this legislative session and see if we can pull a rabbit out of the hat again. And I will be very happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Question here, you mentioned about the 44.8 million.
Yes.
How soon will we receive that? I know that some of it already been received.
A lot of
How
it.
soon will we get that back?
A lot of that has already been received because that's over a 10-year period. And one of the challenges is that particularly on the federal funds that we're receiving, there are match requirements. So, and we do not have the match dollars within our fiscal capability to meet those matches. So the importance of these funds coming from the state is redoubled because the state does not directly fund these kinds of things unless we get in there and really step as hard as we can and push as hard as we can to let them know that what they're providing to us is a multiplier. That's helping us to draw down the other additional federal dollars to bring to rolling stock and to water ferries and docks and et cetera. And it is a teamwork effort with our team at Squire Patton Boggs and our team here on the ground and in Atlanta in doing this. And I know they're at the Capitol every day, all year long. I'm at the Capitol every day during the session. And then as I need to be up there on a as necessary basis. So I'm basically back and forth all the time. And I appreciate having the opportunity to represent the CAT, to represent Chatham Area Transit Authority for what is now over a decade.
Are there any questions for Mr. Back?
You get us to move.
I'm trying.
We appreciate your presentation. If there are any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, it's really important for us to keep this grant money that's coming our way. Good job. All right, we do have a special meeting item.
There's another part of the legislative.
I'm sorry, there sure is, the proposed legislative agenda.
As the board of directors is familiar with, CAT struggles with a depreciated fleet, particularly on the fixed route side. As we expanded and or replaced 2 ferry vessels that are scheduled for delivery in mid-January 2025, a lot of the SPLOST dollars had to be used to pay for those 2 new vessels. As a result, our fixed route fleet has suffered. We have submitted and have grants currently under review to help with the replacement. If the board remembers, in FY23, FY24, we set aside monies for fixed route bus refurbishment, and we are soon to be moving forward with that process. And within the FY25 budget, we allocated $2 million to assist with whether it was match dollars or the procurement of 2 hybrid fixed route 35-foot buses. So our FY25 legislative agenda, what we're going to ask the state with the assistance of both of our lobbyists for $2.2 million to support the procurement of 2 hybrid fixed route buses. And I'm sure you all are aware of all of the new development across the river on Hutchinson Island, primarily to include the expansion of the Savannah Convention Center.
And in addition to that, in the near future, possibly another hotel.
Absolutely.
So we
Absolutely.
need to be mindful of what that's going to require.
And I also wanted to remind the board that the convention center contributed $1.5 million toward the procurement of the 2 new ferries that are scheduled for delivery in mid-January. The Hutchinson Island Intermodal Facility. It's been sitting there idle for several years. With everything going on Hutchinson Island, expansion of the ferry system, we're going to have to invest in restoration of the intermodal center and the surrounding grounds. With that, we are going to ask the delegation also to fund $500,000 toward the restoration of that facility. The state has invested a lot of money in the convention center expansion. And we're right next door. We have to accommodate not only our tourists, but we have to accommodate the people that needs to get to work across the river. We cannot allow Pat's properties to be an eyesore to beautiful expansions over on Hutchinson Island. So these are the 2 focus areas for the delegation that we will be asking for earmarks and or line item detail to fund these 2 projects.
So 2 ferries and the intermodal center.
2 hybrid buses
Okay.
and restoration of the intermodal center.
Madam Vice Chair,
Yes.
Ms. Cutter, I thought we already purchased the 2 buses already.
Oh, we have several buses. Our fleet is this is for an additional 2 more.
Okay.
Because we are dealing with an aged fleet. Some of our buses are fully depreciated. And in order to accommodate whether it's route expansions or just the routes that we currently have. If the board takes a look at our service alerts, oftentimes it's for breakdowns. The buses are aged. We have a lot to do as it relates to infrastructure replacement. So we're trying to get dollars wherever we can get dollars from to replace in preparation for the future. And I'll be bringing back an action item for a capital fund, the creation of that. And that's also to plan. We cannot wait until buses are fully depreciated to write grants to replace them.
So what would the turnaround time be for that, as far as if a bus life expectancy is only 10, 12 years? So we should start working on that with half of that time?
We'll spread it out over 5 years, ensuring that there's match dollars in place. We don't know whether there will be a SPLOS 8. If there is a SPLOS 8, we will, of course, submit a project list that includes paratransit vehicles, fixed route vehicles. It may even include expansion of our ferry system. In the meantime, we have to have dollars set aside to support if these other funding sources are not materialized. CAT has to continue. So we have to financially plan, and each year the plan is to set aside X number of dollars, whether it's rolling stock, whether it's computer hardware or software, whether it's tablet replacements, but you have to plan in advance. Technology don't last forever. Buses don't last forever. We have to plan financially, and the 5-year capital plan will be our guiding post for that. and will be reflective of the master transit plan that the board adopted last year in August.
And let me just say, and I'm following what you do, absolutely. In times past, we haven't had the money. We just have not had the money to keep up with the demands of replacing and repairing our fleet. And this is why our reserve fund is so important, because not only are we putting money aside for this, but also when the opportunity for grants come up, we will have matching money. And so we've got to start thinking about, just like you run your household, you've got to put money aside. So I'm sorry. Director Lockett.
Let me just go back to, you mentioned earlier about refurbishing of some of the vehicles.
Yes.
We're looking for, do we have local vendors who can do that work for us?
We do have local vendors. Dr. Manning is going to be bringing forward an offset proposal to help with, in lieu of refurbishment, procuring refurbished vehicles from other entities. In addition to that, one problem that CAT has faced, we need contracts in place so that when it's time for refurbishment, the contract is already there. With contracts in place, it expedites the process. You have your contract. All we need now is board approval to move forward with the refurbishment of X number of buses. So we're trying to improve the landscape as to how we prepare and do business for bus replacement, equipment replacement. Not waiting until we need something, but getting our contracts in place. So when the time comes, it's already there. Yes.
That's good.
Madam Vice Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Vaca, could you tell us what type of language will be in place so we try to attract some help from our partners in the state?
Because you bring up a very good point. We need to be having this discussion with our state legislators right now before they go into session, what our needs are going to be, and get them thinking along these lines. So you're absolutely correct.
This document from the CEO basically outlines what the sales pitch, if you would, will be for that, and we will be meeting with the local delegation
December
first week of
6th.
December to set forth this to them. But prior to that, I will be attending the biennial session that will be held in Athens for newly elected legislators, but basically it is a conclave of all the leadership. Prior to that, also, the Chamber of Commerce will be having their annual, what's now called biscuits and coffee session, and our requests in very general and vague terms will be once again part of the legislative agenda for the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
So this is going to be baked into the pie, so to speak.
Right, so I just want to make sure that we reiterate the fact that this is basically a return on their investment.
Yes,
Because people can't get to the convention center if they don't have the right transportation.
exactly. And let me pick up on the Hutchinson Island intermodal. I've already had conversations with some of the folks at the convention center, and this will become not just something that's an outlier over there. This facility will be basically internal to the entire operation once the convention center is completed and the new hotel gets underway. And so I'm looking at possibility for collaboration, either from a straight line item, or we know there is most likely going to be a need for more money for the convention center. And there are some access issues that we can help solve through that facility. So there are several avenues that we can approach for that funding item alone.
Yeah, because they're gonna still ask what's gonna be the function of the intermodal center And you can always tell them that can also be a visitor center
Yes,
if they want to invest in the house.
exactly.
You know, you bring up such a good point. Not only that, but I'm thinking about people that are staying either at the Westin or the new hotel, whether it's convention or not. The idea of being able to go across the river, either by ferry or the intermodal center and not have to worry about parking a vehicle is
Mhm.
huge.
Yes.
I mean, because it's getting very difficult to park.
Well, that is not only developed as not only a well-loved tourist amenity. And where else can you take a family of five on a ride on the river and not cost you a penny?
Yeah.
But the other item is in very real terms, many of our service industry employees park
Mhm.
in the southern end of downtown, take the downtown shuttle and then get on the water ferry to go to work and then to come back at the end of the day. So it is an integral part of our transportation for our employment numbers as well, not only for tourism or for the convention and visitors trade that we support.
Exactly.
And as part of the convention center, it is basically part of that huge state asset where the state has invested, what, $300 million to build that?
Next slide, please. Now with this, anytime, whether it's at the state level or the federal level, they want to know how we are working together as a community to meet community needs. Our partnerships that we have built, we will continue to nurture them, whether it's for EV infrastructure, anticipating a higher cost of ferry operations and capital costs. We will continue to work on our partnerships, of course, with the state of Georgia, Georgia Power that supports us with EV infrastructure, Garden City for service delivery, Port Whitworth, same to be our voice as it relates to a higher share of the POR fee, working with CETA, with the RISE initiative to talk about public transportation needs throughout Chatham County. And a new partner that has come around the table, the Savannah Waterfront Association. I think government loves the word partnership. Their message is, we will help you, but you have to help yourselves.
It's better than that. Go ahead, Bob. I was just gonna ask. One other entity that I would add to that possibly would be our chamber.
You're right.
Yeah, they're with the understanding city, county, chamber and hoteliers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't say that.
Yeah, they're-
Sorry, I was
they're
just
very-
looking at the same. Okay.
Yeah, important piece.
And we're thinking on the same terms. I'm thinking about Hula and Thunderbolt. Is there anything we can get them to opt in?
We are.
Okay.
We are going to be reaching out. Matter of fact, I was given the name and contact number for the executive director of Pooler's Chamber of Commerce. We will begin those discussions even as we move forward with transportation planning. We have to hear what Pooler's concerns are. And understand that and try to assure them that public transportation is good.
Thunderbolt happened to be in my district and I had a very good rapport with the leaders there, so if you would let it on, go with you.
Okay. Sounds like it. The Savannah Riverfront, the Waterfront Association, their buy-in is definitely needed because we had the hotel motel money that's coming in. And now that it's passed and we're starting to see some revenue from hotel motel, I think it would be a wonderful addition to have that conversation with them as early as possible because what my plan was for River Street was to limit the amount of traffic if it wasn't needed. we had buses that go down there, if it was just gonna be like Chatham area transit buses, but not tour buses and those large, buses, but something that's gonna help our people move around. But I'd love to make sure you guys have that conversation with the Waterfront Association, and they're open.
Yes,
Also, what about the Tourism and Leadership Council?
they are a part of the saving round table. I need to make sure that's.
Yeah, because they seem to
TLC.
be pretty active in.
They are.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And Savannah Waterfront Association, she was here at our last board meeting
Yes.
because she wants to be a voice.
Mhm.
She clearly gets it and understands. So we will be working closely with them to enhance transportation.
Wonderful.
In the area.
Great discussion. Anything else, Ms. Stephanie?
That's all as it relates to workshop presentation. There is an action item. I don't know if
Yes.
there's a quorum.
Special meeting items.
We don't have,
We
Madam Vice Chairman Cutter. The chairman did provide an update to me, what he thought was a 10-minute delay turned into an emergency situation. So I don't think he's gonna be able to.
We have Kenny, right?
Is Director Adams.
So
We
quorum-
need a quorum in person.
Oh,
with the
person.
Meetings at.
We may have to come back with another, call.
So
How can it wait till the next meeting?
can it wait till the next 419?
It's just for the community donation award. That's what the action item was for.
But can it wait?
Sure, yes, it can.
And it won't hurt it.
No, we were just trying to
Shorten the
make
point.
the announcements and get the vehicles turned over. The longer we keep them on our insurance, the more we pay. So we really were trying to, and then the community needs the vehicle. That was the purpose for adding it to the,
But you think it can wait?
we don't have a choice.
Well, I mean, you could call another special meeting, but if that's,
Board, the next board meeting
it's
is
the 19th.
that's,
Can we just food court?
I can't. Mr. Attorney, can I,
What was the question? I'm sorry.
is to poll the board?
I don't think we can.
Do it.
that.
Yeah, I think that our votes need to be in a public
I
forum.
think that's right.
And a
I
part
mean,
of the
if we were to
minutes.
do something like that, we probably have to follow it up in a second meeting to ratify
Ratify
it. And it would be cleaner to do it all at once,
Yeah.
with an in-person forum.
If you feel the need, we'll just have to go with your advice if we need a quick call meeting, if this is that important, but if possible, let's just wait until our next board meeting on the 19th. Mr. Rocker.
Well, I was thinking too, something we just dipped in the hands of the.
Well, I think this is an action item.
Yeah.
It is an act- okay.
We have to.
Okay, yeah.
So we can't do that, and we don't want to not be transparent.
Not being
Absolutely.
transparent, you said we can do it, so
And we want it as a part of the official records.
Yes.
we did that one.
All right, so that moves us on to our old new business. The chairman is not here. Do you have any items, Ms. Cutter, that you would like to bring forward?
Just wanted to remind the board of future work sessions. We'll be bringing forward the passenger and amenities guidelines and bus stop inventory. That's pending a January workshop. We have an upcoming event recognizing our veterans that are a part of the CAT team. We are planning a Veterans Day employee appreciation. An invite is forthcoming to the board, and really hope that you can join us for that occasion. We have 2 board members that are veterans, and they'll be highlighted and celebrated as well.
And
Cut
appreciate
up.
it.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
appreciate it, yes.
I was in the ROTC, I was just trying to see if I could get in.
Please,
Yeah,
please.
I put you in there with me. Yeah, that was great.
You draft dodger?
Not to diminish the incredible service of our veterans.
And Ms. Dumas has sent out an inquiry asking the board who's interested in attending the Savannah Chambers Biscuits and Bill's Breakfast on December 3rd. And she asked that you all let her know by Friday.
And I got you.
So,
Didn't we do a audit of all of our bus stop inventory?
yes, you're going to, the plan is to bring them forward, the consultant forward in January for a workshop to provide an overview of that.
Is there any new business to bring the board forward at this time? From any of the board members? Hearing none, then I will accept the motion to adjourn.
So move.
And a reminder that our next regular board meeting is December the 19th.
November the 19th.
Excuse me,
November 19th.
what did I say?
December.
I'm sorry. You can tell it's been a long day.
Yeah.
November the 19th, I apologize, before Thanksgiving. Was there a motion to adjourn?
Second this year.
All
We want to do that.
right, sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Done. Thank you all so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay.